Hello everyone, I have come up with an interesting video today on how to handle missing values. Well, missing values handling is a key step during EDA. EDA helps you to understand the facts in your data, could be statically or could be visually. Once you have the facts about your data, you can take multiple actions on it, or you can think of coming or withdrawing multiple insights out of that. Well, so now the most asked questions and by the beginners or the budding data analyst is that how do we handle missing values? How do we understand if we have to handle or not handle? And even if we have to handle, then with what value should I go ahead and do the handling? And the most important, again, equally important questions that is equally asked is which approach is used at industry level given out of multiple suggestions given there. Well, so in this video I am going to discuss all in detail about how to handle missing values, when to handle missing values, what to do. Should be, when you say handling, it could be either dropping the missing values or it could be imputing the missing values. So if you are thinking about dropping the missing values, then when should we go ahead with the step? How do you decide now? No, this is the time I should not go ahead with imputations, rather I should go with dropping the data. So how do you finalize that? Is there certain rule that's followed in industry? Well, yes, we have certain guidelines and I'll be going to discuss in detail. Now, when you decide to go ahead with the imputations, right, so you must be facing the questions like how can I perform imputations? Well, imputation basically means trying to fill the missing values with most appropriate value. You just cannot fill those missing values with anything out there. Missing values is as good as a blank. Have you heard of the statement, fill in the blanks? Well, the way in our early school days, how we could not fill the blanks with anything but something in the context, similar way when it comes to filling the missing values, we cannot fill it with anything, although it's a blank place. It has to be filled with something that makes sense to the data, overall pattern that makes sense, and that ensures that the inherent pattern of your data or inherent information in your data do not get lost. Well, so that we have to decide accordingly. And it also could be that as you are working on a data set, you may need to take both the approaches simultaneously based on what you are trying to achieve. Right, so we'll be discussing, no doubt in that, but let me give you one thing. Okay, whatever approaches we are going to talk here may not all be valid to a single data set, that may last to the extent and based on the problem statement you are working. So understanding the problem statement is very important. All right, okay, all right. So let's see, when should we go ahead dropping a row or the column with missing values? Well, so let's assume a scenario that you have a data set in having maybe 20 columns and there are missing values across 5 columns. Alright, so should we go blindly to take those 5 columns and drop them off because they are having certain missing values? Likewise, if there are certain rows where you have a few missing values and you think, okay, there are just few rows, so let's go ahead and drop them off, and that will be a proper solution while handling the missing values. So before you think like this, you must understand the pros and cons that is attached to the any step that you take. So for example, let's say if you blindly pick the columns or the rows where you have missing values and drop off, most of the time probably you'll be doing or you'll be actually making sure that you are losing the data. Maybe you'll be losing a part of data, or maybe most crucial part of the data, right? You need to preserve them. Very rarely it happens that you'll be losing only the information which may not be relevant, and it is okay to lose them, but that is very few scenario, because in real time none of your data is as clean or making ensures that whenever you are dropping certain things, you are not losing something. Alright. So, now let us take this way that you have rows and columns where you have missing values. So, I will discuss row wise and column wise. Whenever I say you have missing values in a row, think of vertically, alright, vertically in the data set, in a 2D data structure, you have missing value. Now, what to do? Well, there is a certain guideline that you should follow, okay. So, do not drop or do not try to drop all the rows where you have missing values. Look for a pattern like make sure what is the percentage of the rows are having missing values in the given column, right. If it's 1%, 2%, go ahead with imputation. Do not drop the entire column just because you have 1 or 2% of missing values in the given column. Then when should we drop a column? Well, you can think of this way. You can fix a threshold. You can say if the threshold or if the number of missing values or the percentage of the missing values in a given column is above a certain threshold, then go ahead and drop it. Well, if you ask me from industry perspective, the widely followed threshold is 70%. Well, I am saying the mostly followed, alright. I am not saying that everybody do follow. Why so? Because it is possible sometimes based on problem, the problem statement may demand you to change this threshold, alright. But mostly it is found that 70% is the standard that we follow. What that means? If your column has just 30% of the information and 70% of the information is missing, then it is better to go ahead dropping that column rather than imputing the rest of the values and returning that column, alright. So, that is the practice even you can follow. Now, coming to seeing the missing values across the row, alright, or row wise or horizontally. Well, so what you can do here, let us take another scenario. So, for example, let us say you have a data set where you have 100 records, and out of those 100 records, you have 5 records or 5 rows where you have 1 or 2 or few number of missing values across all columns. Now, my question to you, what should you do in this case? If you are looking the missing values row wise, should we go and drop off those 5 rows because there are missing values, and also because you are thinking it is just 5% of the data, total data, I am still having 95% retained, so I am okay to drop these rows. Should we do that? Well, my answer is absolutely no. Probably it can be done, but before that you have to confirm certain aspect. For example, let us say simple standard you can follow this. Try to make sure if it's a value prediction or it's a classification problem, what you make to sure those 5 rows does not contain or do not have any crucial information, or the target variable corresponding to those 5 rows are not something which if you lose will impact the overall pattern. If so, then what you should do? You should rather think of imputation rather than dropping, although there are 5 rows. Okay, a simple example you can think. Let us say you have a data set, classification data set, where your target variable is a binary, okay, and the values are 0 and 1, and there are total 5 rows where there are certain missing values, and you see that in those 5 rows 4 of them are having a 0 value and one of them is having 1. Let me give you one information. If your data set is balanced, then in that case go ahead, drop all 5 rows, it will not impact the overall structure. But your data set is, let us say, something imbalanced. What that means? In your whole data set you have now just 95 records with a value with a class of 1 or belonging to class 1, and you have just 5 records belonging to class 0. Now, if you remember, I said though 4 rows has a class value of 0. So, what will happen in this case if you drop these 4 rows where you have a class value of 0? We have total 5 rows with 0 class value, and out of that if you are dropping 4, what will happen? You are kind of making this a monoclass problem, right? Because your data set was already imbalanced. On top of that, you are removing totally one second class. In that case, even if you are thinking of coming up with a model, I would suggest it's not required, because it's a monoclass problem. Even you can predict what will be the output. So make sure you don't end up creating an imbalanced data set, or if it's an already imbalanced data set, you don't make or lose the one of the class which is a minority class. So if that is not happening, then you can always go and drop by row. I hope that is clear. Now let's go ahead and see, if at all dropping is not a solution, and then we have to basically do imputations. What does imputation mean? It basically means you have to fill the missing values with most appropriate value. Well, so what will be the appropriate value, and what are the possible appropriate value that we can think of, and then how to understand in what scenario of which appropriate value would make sense. Alright, so that we will see through types of imputations. Right. So how to impute, okay? How to impute missing values is the most asked questions if you are going with imputation. Right. So there are set of imputations practices that's widely followed even in industry, and I have listed them here on the screen. As you could see, mean imputation, median imputation, mode imputation, correlation imputation, random values within n standard deviation imputation, and predictive model imputation. Well, so these are the methods given, but it's possible that all of these methods sometime may not work given the situation. You may have to come up with totally new approach. However, most of the time these methods have worked. The only thing that you should understand while using these methods, that when to use which method, right? Well, so first let me explain to you how to perform or what happens in each of these given imputations, and then I will tell you how can you decide which method will work, which will not work given the problem statement to you. Alright. So in mean imputation, what happens, wherever you have missing values, you try to fill it with the average value of the remaining data. For example, let us say you have a column A which is of numerical type, the data is continuous value, and you have some 10% of the values missing in the given column. What you can do, take the average of the remaining 90% data where it's non-missing values and take that, so some constant C you got as an average, fill C in the remaining places where you have missing values in the given column. Alright. So that's what happens in mean imputation. And then in median imputation, what we do, instead of filling with the mean value, you take the median of the remaining data and fill with the median value. In similar way, in case of mode imputation, what we do, we take the mode of the remaining data and use that mode as a value to fill in the missing rows in a given column. Coming to correlation imputation, what do we do in correlation imputation? Well, what we try to do in this is, rather than filling with something blindly or as an average or as a central tendency statistical properties, what we try to do here is, we try to see the column where you have missing value, or could be 1, 2 or many. You try to see its pattern with any existing column where there are no missing values. Am I clear? So for example, let's say you have column A and you have column B. Column A does not have missing value, but column B has some 5% missing values. Alright. Now, so that should be now. Now, when I can use column A to fill the missing values in column B, if there is any relation between column A and column B values. Alright. So for example, we can say, let's say you have a height column and you have a weight column, and we understand and there is some correlation, a strong correlation between height and weight that we know in prior, and there are some missing values in the weight column. So what we can do, we can bucketize from the height, we can see what is the maximum or what is the minimum or average value of the weight can go. So let's say you observe that given the height is 5 to 6, right, feet, then mostly the weight should be within the bracket of 10 to 20 kg. Just an hypothetical, alright. Do not go by numbers, look at the approach I am talking about. So, what will happen, let us say you made this observation. So, you found some correlation is there. Whenever the height is between 5 to 6 feet, the weight should be between 10 to 20. So, now you come across a row where you have its corresponding height is 5.5, but the weight is missing. What you can do, go to the remaining data in column A and take for the height 5 to 6, get the average of the weight and take that average to fill the row where you have a height corresponding to 5.5. I hope that is clear to you. You can visualize it, right? It is like a relationship mapping we do while filling it. Alright, let us come on to the next approach, which is random values within n standard deviation imputation. Well, what we exactly do is, instead of filling the missing values on a continuous column or continuous data with a mean, median, mode, we try to generate random numbers within n standard deviation, or n can be anything. You can study your data or get some information from your business to understand n, but otherwise widely you can think of 2 standard deviation, right. Within 2 standard deviation from mean, you can go ahead and generate random values and use those random values to fill the missing rows. So, let us say on a data maybe representing weight, again have an average value of let us say 50 kg, alright. And what you can do, you can get the standard deviation also on the data and then you can generate a random. So, let us say the standard deviation came 30, very much high it is, I understand, but let us say it is 30. So, what you can do, let us say from 50 to 30 and that is basically you can think of 80, alright. You can 20 to 80 generate a random values and do the filling, right. So, now if you are thinking, okay, how is that different from mean, median and mode? Well, we will discuss that, how that is can be much more value adding approach than going plain by mean, median and mode. Okay, let us discuss the last point, that is your predictive model imputation. I would always recommend to choose this method as the last approach. First, try to get your imputation done with the all above approach we discussed, and then if nothing works out, then only go with the predictive model approach. Well, why so? Because it is a time consuming and this will not guarantee, and this is also a kind of need not give you as accurate as possible. However, this is also one of the approach. What we do in this, to practice this approach, the condition is that your column having missing values should be somehow correlated to 1 or 2 of the columns. Okay, so here also we need a correlated columns, alright, and you can build a model, predictive model on the data where you have no missing values, and then you can, once your model is ready, utilize that model to predict the values which are missing, alright, that can be done. Well, so if you are wondering when to go and when to use what approach, so here is my answer to you. See, make use of mean imputation when you have, let us say, 5 to 10% of the data missing. Also, your data is a continuous number. Also, that you do not have outliers in the data. You are aware from business point of view or somehow that more likely your data will not have outliers. In that case, go ahead with the mean imputation. So, take average of the 90% of the data, 90% non-missing values data, and use that average to fill the 5 to 10% of the values which are missing in your data. Coming to median imputation, well, on the same problem where or the column which is continuous in nature, and also that you know there are outliers and you do not want to capture the impact of the outliers, then in that case, instead of taking average of the 90% of the data, take median of the 90% of the data and fill the remaining 5 to 10% whichever are your missing values with the median of the values. Alright, this will ensure that your data is not outlier impacted. Right. Coming to mode imputations, well, mode imputations can be applied on both continuous as well as discrete data. However, this is widely practiced for discrete data, right, because so as you know, what is a mode in a given number set? This is the maximum frequency that a particular value do occur. Alright, so we can make use of that filling the value. So let us say you have a column representing gender, alright, and you have certain missing values. It has two values, let us say true, false, and then you have missing values of 5%. What you can do? Go ahead, take the frequency of male and female, whichever occurs maximum, take that particular value and fill the remaining 5% data. Well, if you understand this, there is a again drawback associated with these methods, mean, median and mode. What is that? You are trying to fill a set of values as a same value, as a constant value, which could be the average, median or mode. Well, so what will happen with that? You are trying to make a set of numbers as same, which cannot be true in reality. So that is the imputation. So there is a limitation. So that's why I would suggest do not use these approaches if you have large percentage of missing values. Let's say you have 30% missing values, 40% missing values. Try to use them when you have lower set of missing values like 5% or 10% to 5%. Right? Do not use these practices if you have 30% or 40% missing values. If you have 30 to 40% missing values, try to use random values within n standard deviation imputations. So there also you are filling with some numbers within a set or within a pattern of a data, but you are not filling all of them with the same value. Rather, you are filling them with something slightly different, but that is okay. Since we don't know exact values, that's the reason we are doing imputation. If we would have known something very much close to the actual, well and good, but it shouldn't be something very much new to your data set. Alright. So now think of this predictive model imputation. As I said, there is a constraint that your column where you have missing values should be correlated with a set of columns, and then only this approach can be practiced. However, let us say even if you get some columns and you think of building a predictive model imputation approach, then make sure that the model what you have made should be highly and properly tuned. It is possible that the model what you build may not be tuned and might be generating a numbers which is far away from the inherent pattern of your data. So you have to be very cautious while you are building the predictive model for imputation. I hope that makes sense. Okay. Now here I have a question for you guys. Now let us say you have a data set representing a bank data set, alright, and you have certain columns representing the card details. I hope all of you know what a card represents in a banking system environment, alright. So you have card details and there are missing values for the card. Now if I ask you to fill that missing values, which of these approaches do you think will work and will be more meaningful to go ahead, and also try to think what will be the limitations of each of the approaches in this problem. Alright, so that is a exercise for you. Try to get it solved and see how powerfully you can exploit this technique of imputations and uplift your knowledge. Till then, happy learning, and let me know your opinion if you want something more as information on it.